it's Miss Gella, and we are continuing reading the book brought to you by Dreamscape. This is Spider Bots Rising, Chapter 16, Ararak. Chuck landed right on top of Abby, covering her crumpled body with his. At that exact moment, hot red laser beams shot at them from every direction. They all hit Chuck at once. For a moment, his whole body glowed ruby red. Then he sagged and lay still. Chuck! The dream seeker cried out, horrified. Without pausing to think, she scrambled down the steep rock wall towards him. She scraped her arms and banged her knees on the way down, but didn't notice. Her heart felt like it was beating in her throat. Nigel followed close behind. She stumbled to the canyon floor and ran over to the heap that was Chuck and Abby. She lifted Chuck's limp body and carefully lay him down on the ground. His one visible eye was closed. Gentle coils of smoke rose off of his body. Is he okay? It was Abby. She had some fresh dents in her metal, but seemed to be all right. Her sensors were trained on Chuck. He saved me, she said. Is he? I don't know, the dream seeker said, looking down at Chuck. She felt panicky and close to tears. Come on now, let me have a look, Nigel said, squeezing in close to Chuck's face. He bent low over Chuck's mouth and then his chest. Then he turned back towards the others. He's okay. He's alive. Just knocked out. The dream seeker felt a wave of relief roll through her. Her own body almost went limp with the force of it. But just then, 100 robotic voices made her muscles tense all over again. Lasers, reload. Suddenly, she remembered where they were. She remembered that they were vastly outnumbered by the bots. They were exposed with nowhere to run. She saw the sensors of the closet bots glow brightly once again. Tiny red laser dots scattered on her chest. Stop! The command boomed suddenly through the canyon. The dream seeker felt the ground shiver beneath her boots. The spider bots did not look away, but their sensors dimmed. The dream seeker looked left and right for the source of the voice. To her right, she saw nothing but the winding path of the canyon. To her left was only the bright, pulsing orb. But then she sensed movement in front of her, and she looked up. Crawling slowly out of an inlet high up on the canyon wall was another gigantic spider bot. This bot was larger even than RNA had been. It had the same wide fan-shaped metal body of the bots they had seen at RNA's nest in the Dustmere forest. The circular monitor on its back flashed with small green lights. After a moment, the light settled into the shape of one huge staring eye, a blazing green eye to match the one in the center of its great silver head. You think the queen would leave herself unprotected? It said, emerging fully from the shadows. You think she would do that after what happened to my brother RNA? Do you think she would just wait quietly as you destroyed everything she has built? No, the bot thundered. She left me at the gate to dispose of you. She left me her greatest servant, her strongest aid. Ararak. The dream seeker, Abby, and Nigel all stepped silently in front of Chuck, guarding him from the bot. But if I wasn't here, Ararak continued casually, your attempt at getting in just now, pathetic. You really thought this living error message would fool us. He pointed lazily at Abby and tilted his head. The web would never confuse this for a real spider bot. She will never be one of us. She is a mistake, a walking glitch, a defect, a freak. Ararak laughed. He had the same laugh as his brother, creaking, rattling, hollow. Very good, dream seeker, he said. You're certainly right about a few things. First of all, I think it's time that some of our friends got out of the way. It isn't nice to fight in front of the children. Ararak twitched a golden leg in the air. At once, every spider bot in the canyon snapped to attention. All of them, except Abby. Their heads turned sharply back towards the orb. Then they were charging towards it in a frantic mass. Now they were no longer marching in orderly rows. They scrambled madly, crashing into each other without seeming to notice or care. Many bots were crushed and trampled in the frenzy, but their eyes remained blank. After a moment, they had all vanished into the orb. Secondly, I will, of course, be stopping you here, Ararak said, creeping down the cliffside. He took a few steps toward them across the now empty canyon. But you are wrong about what you are seeing here, he said, looking at the orb. This is not the World Wide Web. It was that at one time, perhaps, but that was child's play. Now it has become something greater, something more powerful, something our queen calls the dark web. The lights on his monitor began to collect themselves in the center of his back. They became a solid circle of green light glowing brighter and brighter. I just thought I'd clear that up for you before it's too late. With a massive clap of thunder, the storm finally hit. Rain pounded down from above. Lightning struck and bleached everything white. Ararak attacked. And that is the end of our chapter. What do you think is going to happen? Clearly, the Dream Seeker and her friends were able to defeat the brother Arne, but this bot is bigger, and this bot seems scarier. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen? And I have a challenge for you, since a lot of my challenges have been more discussion-based, writing things down, reflecting, connecting to our world. I want you to think of vocabulary now. Go back, reread if you need to, or go look at the story. Can you find any vocabulary words that maybe you don't know, that you want to learn more about and find definitions for? Or are there vocabulary words that are familiar to you, that you have heard before? I want you to go back and find 10 vocabulary words. That's right, 10 vocabulary words. And my challenge is to find 5 that you don't know, and maybe 5 that you do know. And for the ones that you don't know, you can look up definitions, or talk to your teacher or a friend, or write them down, or Google. That's always really helpful. And my challenge is for you to use those vocabulary words and write some complete sentences, or a paragraph if you are an older student watching this. Thank you for reading along, and I will see you all next time.